The WNBA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. You can win up 325 times your entry with their new Pick 8 and sign up with that promo code NBA SGPN to claim your special pick and first-time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code NBA SGPN. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Build your own betting model using their AI betting engine. Claim your 7-day free trial by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm and sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. Yes, sir. We're back with another edition of the WNBA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. No me, no the voice, so guys, me, Willie Rowe, Villain Rowe. Terrell Furman Jr. here at your service. And I just have to say that, I committed a cardinal sin. And I assumed the injury report. And it made an ass out of you and me. Because we didn't cash the lock of links laying 6.5. Some people got 6.5, whatever it was. Doesn't matter. It didn't get there. But, I mean, the dog did. And sometimes that's what it is. I haven't been able to sweep in a little while, though. I've been hitting my locks the last couple of episodes, missing my dogs. Hit the dog this episode, missed the lock. But Mystics first half plus 390 comes in big for me. Makes it a positive day here. Parlay was close, but Minnesota again on the team total. Just if Collier played, I would like our chances. I really would have liked our chances. But Scott Street or Reichel, you hit a lock. So hey, what's going on? Whoa.
Scotty, beat me up.
Surprise.
Yeah, doing pretty well. I was also off on the injury report, but it didn't matter because I faded the Mercury on the road, and that is still very powerful because they were horrible. The game was close for about the first quarter and a half, 2 quarters, and then second half came around, and Phoenix said, wait a second, we're on the road, and they just immediately got killed in the second half. So Griner played, Taurasi played, everyone played, didn't matter. Connecticut beat him by about 30, so I know that the line closed at like 8.5, 7.5. I got 10.5. Don't really care. Never in doubt. Nice, easy winner there. For the dog, I don't think that Diggins Smith would have gotten there anyway, to be honest, but I had her double-double at 470. Took a flyer, dart throw at it, but unfortunately she got injured in the first half and did not return. So I don't think she would have gotten there anyway, but we never stood a chance because of injury, so that did not work out. But the Sun did what they needed to do. The Mercury are still really bad on the road, and it looks like they're already half looking ahead to the All-Star break. So nice win there with the lock.
Yeah, man. And I'm just really sick about it. You got to remember in WNBA, questionable is actually questionable. Like, it's not a foregone conclusion. NBA, it's a foregone conclusion that that person is more than likely playing. WNBA, it's legit questionable, and you really don't know. And when I saw that Nafisa Collier outcome across my screen, I literally just felt everything drain out of me. I couldn't find it in me to punt out the bet, but I also was sitting there like, man, I really, really felt good about Minnesota. Disappointed in that. Really, really am. However, it's a new day, Scott. And we got 4 games on the slate with Camp Day in one of them. We're going to talk about that in a second. But before we do that, got to remind you about the Propcast. They're getting you ready for, well, no, I lied. I'm talking to you about the Sports Gambling Podcast, getting you ready for college football season with their conference previews, Big 10, Big 12, Pac-2, SEC. I mean, they have it all. Make sure you tune in wherever you get your podcast to the mothership, Sports Gambling Podcast. All right. Scott, I don't want to waste any time. I want to get into it because Camp Day was a great day for us in the WNBA. Now we get another Camp Day game before the break. 11:30 a.m. on the East Coast. The Phoenix Mercury on the road going to play the Washington Mystics. Mystics catching 4 at home. Opened up at 5.5. It's down to 4. 167.5 is the total here. Injury report for these two teams. And looking here for the Phoenix Mercury, whoa, that is not what, no, don't play that. I don't need that. I need the injury report. There we go. All right, Phoenix Mercury injury report. Suggs Sutton is out with that hamstring injury. Griswold Osborne is still out. D. Richards is going to be out. Brittney Sykes, Shakira Austin, Carly Samuelson, all out for the Washington Mystics.
I mean, I'm not taking the Mercury on the road, right? I can't.
I mean, just you got to think of all the spot. It's Mercury on the road. Is Mercury on the road on the East Coast playing at 11:30 a.m.
Yeah.
So
to be fair,
body clock.
They were on the East Coast already.
No, but your body
but
clock still doesn't. Not that fast. No way, not that fast. Your body, you still feeling it. You're still feeling the early wake up. You are. No, you don't take them. Well, first of all, if you're living under a rock or you don't know what, you're playing the Mystics in the first half for sure. 100%. You're fading that. But then you again, Scott talked about the Mercury on the road. That is a horrible spot. You look at the Mercury defensively and the fact that they can't stop anything. Meanwhile, this Mystics team, at the very least in the first half, they really found it going and been able to score. And they challenged some teams defensively now. They played the Fever, who are notorious bad defense, and they put up 89 points on them. And that was a early camp day game that they did that. You know, I'm here. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. I'm with you. I know you're doing it. I'm here with you. Even in the second half, I'm taking the Mystics here. 100% taking the first half, but I'll even take them in the second half plus the 4 and on the money line in camp day here.
Yeah, I feel like the Mercury are kind of just sleepwalking to the All-Star break because we saw them against Indiana. I know they were a bit shorthanded. Cloud was a late scratch in that game. They got buried. I know they lost by 9. I get it. They were down by about 25. That game was over in about 10 minutes. Caitlin Clark had, I think it was 7 assists in the first quarter of that game. The Mercury didn't care. Then they came out, looked good for a half against Connecticut, and then got their asses kicked. So I don't like how the Mercury have played. Defensively, they've been horrible, as you mentioned, and I don't trust this team defensively. The Mystics were really good early on against the Aces. They eventually lost. Did cover, though, so shout out to the Mystics for cashing the first half money line and for actually cashing the spread against the Aces. But they've given up at least 95 points in back-to-back games. I can't take the Mercury here, especially minus 4.5. They can't guard anybody. Like, don't get me wrong, they could still beat the Mystics because they're more talented. But psychologically, with Taurasi, who's going ahead with the Olympic team, and you're looking at the overall roster, really not caring much on defense right now, and them being on the road, I'm going Washington. I think 4.5 is way too many. I saw ESPN bet had 4.5, so maybe most books have 4 or 3.5. But give me the Mystics, because there's no way, based on what I've seen the last 2 games defensively from Phoenix, I'm laying points with this team on the road. I can't do that, so I'll go with the Mystics.
Yeah, looking here at the numbers, the Mystics are 10th in opponents' points per game, giving up 85 points per game over the last 5 games. The Phoenix Mercury are 11th, 89.8. That is a huge jump. So 11th for the Phoenix Mercury in that category. Mystics notoriously giving up a bunch of 3-point shots over the past 5 games. And yeah, points. It's points. The over sitting at 167.5. Honestly, I think that you should just go ahead and play that. And I think you can play it up to 170, honestly. Like, I think that there's going to be just a massive amount of points for 2 teams that are going to play with pace before the All-Star break. And absolutely, like, there's no resistance here defensively at this point. Like, it's really horrible. And as much as the Mystics find themselves in games, they definitely find themselves giving up points, at least in the second half of these games. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if the Mystics are up big in the first half, and then here comes the second half surge from the Phoenix Mercury, a veteran group who's able to hit the 3-point shot. So yeah, I'm all over the over here. I think the over 167.5 is probably one of the better plays in this game.
By the way, Reg, it depends how you look at it. They're bad based on wins and losses. They are the best spread team in the league by a mile. So it depends on how you look at the team. Like, the Mystics are not a very talented bunch, but they're great ATS. I'm not going to argue with the numbers there. Yeah. I do want to ask you, though, about
17-7, by the way.
I want to ask about the Olympics, though, for a second, because I know we don't really talk about look-ahead spots that much. This is the final game before the official Olympic break. Phoenix has 3 players who are going to be on the Olympic roster with Taurasi, Copper, and with Griner. Are they mentally checked out for the break, or do you think they actually show up for one last game?
No, they still got time. It's not like they're going and they're leaving tomorrow. Like I think everybody's still locked in for the last game. Well, they got to be because they're still fighting. They're still fighting for a playoff spot, and they're 500 right now, so they need a win.
I'm also just throwing out variables, but I am kind of wondering, based on how we've seen this team guard the last 2 games, I think some of their players might be thinking about vacation plans already. But
man, that I can't say that because they've been guarding the way the past 2 games as they've been guarding all season. Just horrible. This team.
I mean, yes, but 95 in back-to-back games is still 95 in back-to-back games.
Yes, very much so. All right. Let's see here. Who do we like here for player props?
I mean, just because I like Washington does not mean I'm suddenly going to get off the Copper bandwagon.
And Stephanie Dolson. Wait, is she playing? I could have sworn I seen there's like some injury designation on Stephanie Dolson. I just remembered that. Let me go back and look and see what Underdog says. Underdog. No, that was Stephanie Talbot. My fault. That was Stephanie Talbot. We'll get to that another time. All right. Yeah, play Brittney Griner again, man.
Playing who under?
I mean, it's Dolson, Brittney Griner.
Oh,
Brittney Griner
okay.
over again. Yeah, play Brittney Griner over again. Over 18.5. I mean, she's been really good to this number. I don't know who the resistance is going to be for her on the inside. Stephanie Dolson, maybe some Aisha Hines-Allen. I really don't think there's much resistance for. I think she's going to have a good one and be able to put out a pretty solid scoring output. Again, right before the All-Star / Olympic break. And we got to remember that. All-Star before Olympics. All-Star is this weekend?
I think so.
Yeah, this weekend. It is. Let me see here. Let me pull up. Where's my dog? There we go. There we go. Yeah. No,
I was going to ask, do you think Atkins duplicates what happened in the last game? She's just for the record, she's had at least 26 points in back-to-back games. She had 36 last game against the Aces. Her point total in this game is set at 16.5 at plus money. Do you think that she just goes for 20 plus again?
Yeah, I really don't want to fade her. I mean, and you got to think of it, Natasha Cloud on the other side. You feel like that that's probably who's going to get the Ariel Atkins matchup. And so that's probably some concern is Natasha Cloud coming back into Washington and having a really, really good game defensively. I think I'm already just going to go ahead and back her points and assists for this game as well. Natasha Cloud in the revenge game against Washington, the first game she's had in Washington. I'm pretty sure. I don't think that they've come out this way. I'm pretty sure the last one was in Phoenix. So Ariel Atkins, I think, is a pretty solid day. The only concern that I would have is the Natasha Cloud matchup. But other than that, she's just reminding people that she's a former Olympian.
Yeah, I'm asking because 19.5 points, the over is plus 220. So that is an option if you want to go for a score 20 in this game.
I think, and I like points. I do like points in this game. Let's get over to I have to play Natasha Cloud assists. Like back in Washington, backing the revenge game spot. The fact of I like points in this game. I think that they're going to be able to score on both sides. 2 bad defenses, and she's going to be leading the charge. And I think they're going to give her every opportunity. A lot of these teams and a lot of these players, you kind of hear them talking about it when they're mic'd up about the revenge game matchups that they kind of have going on. Nneka with the Sparks, we heard Skylar and the Mercury, and they were talking about that on a mic. So I think that this is opportunity as well for Natasha Cloud, and just what is a plus matchup for her in that position, playing against a notoriously bad defense in the Mystics right now. So I like Natasha Cloud points and assists, points, rebounds, and assists as well. I think that that's a good move. She's been, she went over in that last game. She had 14 points, 10 assists. So she went over that 20.5 on the points and assists last matchup.
I think I might actually be going for a pre-Olympic break fade of Taurasi at 15.5 points. I think the line's too high. I'm looking at the last couple games that she's played, and she has done okay. She had 20 against the Sparks, 19 against the Fever, had 16 against the Wings, and 6 last game against Connecticut. However, in that Wings game, she went 2 of 8 from the floor. She attempted 11 free throws in that game. She made 10 of them, but the point is her actual shot attempt volume has gone down. She has attempted less than 9 shots in back-to-back games, and the mistakes defensively, I think, are pretty good. I don't think this team's that bad defensively. So with that being the case, I actually don't mind Taurasi under at 15.5. It's minus 102. I know the recent numbers might suggest that she might be worth an over, actually. But I, once again, think that going into the All-Star break, I'm wondering if mentally she'll be fully engaged in the game. But I also don't like her shot volume. It's dropped dramatically. Copper's been taking a bunch of shots recently, rightfully so. She's been incredible. But I do wonder if Taurasi, final game before the break, she's kind of been in and out of the injury report for the last couple weeks. Will they give her some limited minutes? They might. They might give her limited minutes. She played 25 against Connecticut. Now, they were also getting blown out by 30 at the time in the fourth quarter. I can see them cutting back on some of her minutes the final game before the break. Can you?
Yeah.
I can see that. So give me Taurasi under. I see T Smooth is telling me that he has a 16.5 on Taurasi at Bet365. So give me the under 16.5 points.
I'll also back Dawson again. She's been really good, and if she's playing, I expect her to continue to be good. So I'll back Stephanie Dawson. All right. Before we get to that was camp day. Before we get to the rest of the games on the slate, that are actually pretty spread out. We get games all day tomorrow. You play, pretty much all day tomorrow. So that's going to be a good one. But before we talk about that, got to talk to you about Underdog Fantasy. Pick 8 is live, and you can create entries with up to 8 picks, and Underdog will automatically double flex your entries so you can miss up to 2 picks and still win. Plus, you can win up to 325x your amount. Just make sure you use some of those spicy plays, some of those super spicy plays, and they have special boosts and picks that make it better than ever to hit your Underdog entry. Make sure you use that promo code NBA SGPN. Claim your special pick and first-time deposit offer $250 in bonus cash. Underdog Fantasy.com, promo code NBASGPN. We're also brought to you by Circa Sports. Their Circa Survivor and Circa Millions are live, and you can sign up at Circa Sportsbook between now and September 7th. And you can use a proxy and play from anywhere. We even have a deal with footballcontestproxy.com to save you $50 with the promo code SGP. So make sure you use that proxy. You sign up for Circa Millions, which is a pick 5 ATS teams each week, competing for $6 million. Or it doesn't matter. You can do one or you can do both. Circa Survivor. Survive the NFL gauntlet, picking a team a week, and claim the $10 million prize at the end of the season with no rake. So it could be even more than that. Plus, if you just you don't know when you want to go sign up, go to Ultimate Contest Weekend, August 22nd through the 24th at Circa Sports, where you can hang out with Sean, Ryan, and enjoy a bunch of the open bar events. So make sure you, 1, check out Circa Sports. 2, use that website, footballcontestproxy.com. Save $50 with promo code SGP and sign up for Circa Survivor and Circa Millions. All right, next game up. Seattle Storm on the road, going to play the Los Angeles Sparks. Storm opened up laying 9.5, currently laying 8.5 in some spots. 162 is the total. Injury report here. I already mentioned it a little bit. Stephanie Talbot is out for the Los Angeles Sparks, and that looks like everything that I have, because even though Skylar Diggins-Smith did leave that game early, she's not on the injury report for Tuesday. Scott, you got the Sparks laying 8.5 here.
I think you mean Storm laying 8.5.
Oh, I'm sorry, Storm laying 8.5 here.
Well, I'll let you go first because I know the Storm are kind of your team.
Yeah, I don't like the spot. I'll go ahead and say it. I don't like the spot. I think it's a really, really tough spot. And the fact that they were just home for like ever.
Yeah.
Like I think they had 8 or 9 games at home there, and now you're going on the road before the break. Like that's just before the break. That's just a spot where I kind of don't want to back you. Like that's just a really weird travel spot of flying down to Los Angeles right before you're about to. Some people are about to go back to Seattle, go home, All-Star, get ready for Olympics. Like that spot right there is just annoying. And this LA team, I'm like, You give them a big spread and they find a way to cover it. Like, you give them a huge number and they find a way to cover it. They really, really were in position to cover that last matchup against the Seattle Storm in the Nneka revenge game, where that second half just kind of got away with them. They just kind of got stale on offense. But now I don't know. I don't think I want to lay a number this big. Like, they've been really, really scrappy. So I think I'm actually going with the Sparks here plus the points.
Yeah, I think I'm going to agree with you in this one. I don't like laying 8.5 when you've had a home overall. I can't even think of the right term, because a home stay is not even the right word, because they just moved back home for about a month. Yeah, they had a home vacation for about a month, and now they're going back on the road. But I'm more concerned about Diggin Smith being injured, because she was playing some great basketball for the last couple weeks, and she was really just the main, I'd say, engine of the offense. Jewell has been struggling recently, and you haven't really noticed that much because Diggin Smith had been that good. So with her probably being out, it's an ankle issue. I don't think she's going to play. We'll see what happens, but I do expect Seattle offensively to look a little bit out of sorts without their starting point guard, their main facilitator on the court, and with the road trip, the Sparks might be terrible in general, but they are a lot better at home than on the road, and they have been able to upset good teams before, beat the Aces. You know, they've had a couple wins that have been impressive, but I'm going to go with the Sparks here at plus 8.5. The Storm might win this game, but if you're missing your starting point guard and it's a random one-off road game before the break, you can easily just check out of this game mentally. So I'm going with the Sparks with you. I think 8.5 is too many points.
Yeah. I just can't get behind it. Can't get behind it. It's just a little bit too much here. And Seattle has some inconsistencies on offense that I am concerned about. There's some inconsistencies there offensively, and where they're still able to score points, but when you watch, it's just like it's kind of comes in flurries sometimes, and it's not more of like, they kind of have they allow these other teams to go on runs, and Los Angeles is just not the team you kind of want to play around with too much, especially right now when they just kind of feel like, hey, let's just go out there and play, nothing to lose. Yeah, that feels like a sneaky one. That feels like a sneaky one where it just feels like people are going to bet Storm, and I don't know. I don't know about the Storm in that spot. That's my team.
I mean, even if it wasn't a really random road game before a break, I want to see this team without Diggin Smith. She's been that good.
Well, she's playing. She's not on the injury report. She's playing. It's just, is she?
I don't know how healthy she's going to be. That's kind of the point. She also might have limited minutes. Who knows? She's on the is she on the Olympic team?
No, she's not on the Olympic team.
She's not. Okay. So the point is, though, she's still a very solid player, and if she's compromised, you don't know. I feel like that the Storm, I don't want to say are a sucker play, because they can still beat the Sparks handily. They're talented enough, but I'm not a fan of the spot either. So,
yeah, horrible spot. I think defensively, they just kind of unravel here on the road before the break. I think this is also a game where I see points, and you have LA, who nothing to really sneeze home about defensively, but they've found some rhythm offensively, and they've actually found ways to be able to put the ball in the basket and score a little bit more consistently than people actually care to admit. So I'm gonna play the over 162 here. I think that's the better spot. I don't expect much defense from LA, but I think that LA is going to be able to keep up offensively a little bit here as they cover the spread. So if they cover, I think it goes over. Give me over 162.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, when it comes to the games the day before break, I think I am leaning to the over in a decent amount of these games, because I do wonder mentally, it's a lot harder to play defense for a full 40 than offense for a full 40. And I am wondering if, once again, the mentality of the players is looking at vacation that's coming up next for about, I don't know, a month. I forgot exactly how long the vacation is, but it's going to be a while. So I think I am leaning over in most of these games tomorrow. Seems like a good game where, worst case scenario, teams are getting killed early and mentally they pack it in. But they still want to get points. They're just not going to guard, as ferociously as they need to help unders. But yeah, I don't see much defense being played tomorrow. Maybe that's a hot take, but I definitely think you might see some, let's say, absent-minded defenders. We'll say that. So I'll go with the over in this game too. I see points. The Sparks don't guard anybody anyway. The Storm can score 90. Storm might also just not really show up defensively. So a couple ways to get there. I'll go with the over, though. I think it will land somewhere in the mid 160s, if I had to guess. It'll be a sweat, but I think it goes over.
I'm pretty sure this is a camp day game too, by the way. I forgot to mention that, but I'm almost positive this is a camp day game too. All right. Player props. I saw somebody in the chat say it. D Johnson said in the chat. I agree with it. I think you run Ari McDonald's points over again. 15 in the last matchup. Overs at 11 and a half here. She's been really, really good as of late, man. Reading her last 10 games, 14, 14, 15, 2, 12, 17, 23, 4, 4, 12. She's been over in 7 of the last 10 games. Again, we think that there's going to be points. We think it's going to be a little bit more lax. Skylar is a little bit banged up. She might not be able to keep up with that first step that Ari McDonald has. Yeah, Ari McDonald over 11.5 points. D Johnson to call out. I agree.
Yeah, I think I agree with that too. McDonald, we know, is never shy when it comes to shooting. So I think that she's in line to have a pretty solid scoring game. For Seattle, it's interesting because they have so many options that you got to pick one. If you want to actually go for a play that's been cashing recently, you can just go with Jewell Loyd fades, particularly in the first quarter. The problem is she's had at least 9 points in the first quarter in back-to-back meetings, including the only meeting this season. Her number's at 5.5, so I am going to stay away on that. I do want to mention, though, if we were looking at some recent numbers, we can potentially take her under in points regular at 19.5. But 19.5 with Jewell is always dangerous because you know the volume's going to be there. And if she ends up attempting like 15 shots, are going to be miserable. So I don't know if I actually want to go there. It might be a game where I'm interested in Hamby, or maybe if I want to go for maybe looking at Ezzy to have a solid game. I can see her rebounding well against this team. Maybe Nneka has a solid game.
Oh, I have
too,
that penciled. That was the next prop I literally had pulled up here is Ezzy's rebounds over 8.5 at plus 102. I mean, game earlier this season, she brought down 13. If you look at previous history last year against, a pretty similar bunch in the Los Angeles Sparks, 8, 8, 10, 9. She's been right there at this number. She's kind of been slack recently, but overall this season, really, really good to this number. I think Ezzy still had last game was the scoring game. I think this is the rebound game for her. She definitely gets it done and goes over 8.5 rebounds. I think a double-double is definitely in the range for her.
I think I'm just going to go with the Nneka points in this game. She killed the Sparks last time out. She had 26 points. She has had 24 plus in 2 of the last 4. Recently, not exactly in the greatest of forms, but it's the Sparks. There might be an extra chip on her shoulder, and she's been really good this season at taking advantage of mismatches. Without Brink in there as a solid defensive anchor, they're going to have a lot of problems. I think Nneka's going to have a great game.
And I saved the best for last. Jewell Loyd over 19.5. What? What are we thinking about here? Jewell Loyd kills the Sparks. She killed last 5 games versus the Sparks. 37, 25, 25, 28, 21. I mean, come on now. We're playing Jewell Loyd. You're playing Jewell Loyd today. She's been over this line in literally 50% of her games this year. She's going to get it done. She's going to have another good game, get 20-plus points for the end of the break, and handle business. Jewell Loyd. Back her again. Matter of fact, take her to 25 on me. All right. Let's see here. Jewell's going to cash for us. Watch. Okay. I do like Rickea Jackson as well. Rickea, she just continues to get the shot volume and the shot attempts. Like I told you, once upon a time, I thought she could potentially be the lead scorer of this team. I don't think that's going to happen with De'Ara Hamby right now, but she's in the wheelhouse, and I think she can do it. So I think that that's a good spot with Rickea Jackson as well. All right. That's it for that one. Before we get to the next game, I want to say, got to talk to you about Rhythm. Make sure you tap into their WNBA features to make it the best way to play the W with data is by using Rhythm and their custom betting models that you can go in there. You can adjust your settings to how you like them and make them, or you can use their AI-backed betting recommendations. And so, looky here. Guess what's one of Rhythm's favorite plays for tomorrow? The Mystics plus 145 to get it done against the Mercury. Look, plus 145, they're saying that you have a 46.7 win probability. That's great for a plus money play there. I mean, there you go. They think the Mystics are going to win this one 81-80. So, hey, make sure you check out that Mystics game plus 145. Shout out to Rhythm for the pick. I'm with you, and I'm definitely tailing. Make sure if you want to get more picks like that, to go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. You can get a 7-day free trial by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. All right, next up, 7 p.m. on the East Coast, we have the Connecticut Sun traveling to Brooklyn to play the New York Liberty. Liberty laying 4.5 here. 152.5 is the total. Injury report, and it is a doozy because Naira Sabali is questionable with the back injury. Kayla Thornton is questionable with the neck injury. Benaja Hamilton is out. Brianna Stewart is questionable with rest. That's everything for the Liberty, and I have nothing for the Connecticut Sun. Scott, this line opened up at 4.5. It got all the way up to 6.5, and then it got bet back down to 4.5 after the injury concerns.
I kind of like the Sun, and I'm not happy about it.
They don't beat this team, though.
I know they don't, but the injury report is important. I mean, I feel like we can't ignore it, you know? It's a big deal.
I mean, yeah, if Stewie doesn't play, that's a big deal, but I mean, if all those play, if all of those don't play, then of course I don't see how you can, like, that's huge. I don't see how you can. But come on, they didn't have Benaja Laney last time. They still were able to get it done. Now Brianna Stewart, that's questionable. But I still think Jacquel Jones has a really good matchup. I think Sabrina continues to find ways to be good. But Courtney Vandersloot is playing in this game, and that's depressing.
Yeah.
Like, of all the people on the injury report, she could be the one that would be on, and I wouldn't mind.
So based on that, I'm assuming you're going with just history repeating itself?
I really want to. Because, like, my issue with Connecticut, and you don't get to see it in a 96-point game against the Phoenix Mercury, but they really, really, really just sometimes lose it offensively, man, where they just nut it up. And you saw it in that game against Liberty. Now, granted, it was an early game, so maybe they're more consistent here. But damn, they have not won a game against them in a while.
I'll let you pick.
If Brianna Stewart plays, there's no way I'm not taking Liberty. I'm not going to bet this now because I just learned my lesson from the Nafis Collier situation. But if Brianna Stewart plays, there's no way I'm not taking Liberty. I really don't. Because what we're talking about, Sabali, Thornton, and Thornton's actually kind of big too. And Stewart. And Stewart just says rest. So I think what Stewie is questionable for is if Kahleah Thornton, Sabali, like if they start to have a depth issue, they're not going to give Stewie that rest. But if everybody is ready to go, then they're probably going to give Stewie the rest. That's just my guess of what it's going to be. So if Stewie plays, I'm taking Liberty. If she doesn't play, then yeah, sure. We'll back the Sun.
So I don't think that she's going to play personally. Props to the Liberty, though. They actually look pretty good without her against the Sky, especially defensively. They get 67 points. Shout out to them for playing well. I'm going to go Connecticut. Even though we have been successful fading the Sun in every predictable loss imaginable this season, 4.5, I do think the Sun can keep this game competitive. I mean, we saw the game in Connecticut a little while ago. Liberty did win. Very close game. Could have gone either way. Then Sabrina kind of took over later on as she ended up having the floater at the end, and she had the block randomly to win the game. But I do think that the Sun were able to win that game. They fell apart down the stretch a little bit, but I do think with Stewie probably not playing, I think the Sun are going to be motivated for this game because they've probably noticed the same thing that we've noticed. We can't beat this damn team. I feel like at some point they're going to have to show up and figure it out, and Stewie missing this game would be a good time to do so. I quickly want to pull up what Stewie's stats were in the last game against the Sun. Out of curiosity, I do think that Sabrina and Jonquel could, in theory, carry them to a win anyway. But I do think Stewie, being defending MVP, is so great defensively. She had a couple of massive blocks at the end of regulation against the Sun as well. So I think her rim protection not being there would be a problem for them. Stewie, though, had 18 and 14 with 3 blocks in the last game. She was really good against Connecticut in that last meeting, and she was a big reason why they won. I think I am going to lean to Connecticut. I think Stewie defensively is really a problem for Connecticut to deal with because they can't really attack the paint the way they want to. And Brianna, as a rim protector, is elite. So with her not being there, I do have to point out that I think that she is one of the best defensive players in the league. Brianna Stewart is. I think we'd agree on that, especially based on her overall rim protection. I'm going to go with Connecticut. I think Stewie being out is a big deal. And I think with that being said, Connecticut might win
She's
this
not
game.
officially out.
Yeah, she's not officially out. I'm saying, okay, sorry, thank you. If she is out, I think she's not going to play. But if she is out, then I'm going to go with Connecticut, so I'll go with Connecticut now.
So what if she is in?
If she's in, I think the Liberty win, but I'll personally gamble on her not playing. She had a hamstring issue. She's resting now. I feel like it's a pretty... The fact that they didn't even come up with an injury excuse for her. They just said rest. That's probably not a great sign. They're just looking at Brianna going, no, she's good. Figure it out later. They won without her. I feel like they're not going to rush her back. If they lost to Chicago, maybe they'd try to rush her back, but they won. So maybe they believe they can steal one without her anyway. Maybe.
I think she comes back and they win. I think
Okay.
I think that it's too much depth. You can't lose. You can't be down this many bodies, and you can't be down this many bodies and play a game. That's just not healthy for the players you're actually playing. I think she's going to play.
Yep.
All right. 152.5.
I mean, I'm going to lean under. They split the two meetings. The first meeting landed 157. Second meeting landed 139. You might remember that first quarter was actually very high scoring in that last game. First quarter ended up landing 48, and the game still only landed 139. I think these teams are going to kill each other, personally. Aren't you just expecting a playoff-type atmosphere, kind of? Maybe?
No, I actually kind of lean over at this number.
Okay.
I think it's too low. I think it's a little too low. I think that they're going to, and especially with that first game being an early game, I think that a couple of those misses and and the pace picks up and they just start scoring a little bit more. Do I think that this is going to be the ultra high scoring game? No, but I think it could be a little bit closer to that first matchup that landed 157. So I actually slightly lean over, but I don't feel good. I really can't do anything in this game until I know more about the injury report. I'm not going to play myself like that again. So a lot of TBDs for me in this one.
It's a good point by LF3, though, that the Liberty coach is also coaching in the Olympics.
Yeah.
Which is a good point to make.
All right. Player props. She did me dirty last time, but I'm going to run it back. Jewell Jones. Over. What's her points and rebounds at this one?
I think I just like her rebounds.
Well, I mean, if you're talking about the outs that they're gonna have, she's got to score, and she can. Like she can get to her spot. Like it's not like she's not able to score against this team. She 100% can. It's just last game she was very, very passive because Stewie and Sabrina were literally taking every single shot in the beginning of the game, and they were missing a bunch of them, and then they ended up waking up and they were scoring at first, and then they started missing a bunch, and then that opened the door slightly for Jewell Jones. But it was the Stewie and Sabrina show, and that's really what it was. And Jewell just kind of took a back seat that game. But it's not like she can't score. So I think with more opportunity, yeah, she gets over the points mark too. I like her points and rebounds, separate, whatever you want to play it. I like Jewell Jones. I think she's gonna have a good game.
The reason why I mention her rebounds, though, is because she had 11 in the last game against Connecticut with Stewie playing. And Stewie also had like 14 rebounds in that one. So the point is, I do think whether Stewie plays or not, your Jonquel prop isn't totally cooked in theory if she plays or not, because she can get the rebounds anyway. So that's why I'm kind of mentioning Stewie potentially taking Jonquel rebounds at 10.5. She has gone over 10.5, by the way, in 4 of the last 5, 7 of the last 10. And she's done well, historically speaking, rebounding against Connecticut, as she has had at least 11 rebounds in 7 of her last 9 games against the Sun. So I like Jonquel rebounds more than anything else. Because I do get pretty annoyed by Jonquel because of how she can dominate so easily whenever she wants to, but she just chooses to not do anything sometimes. and it just frustrates me because she's so much bigger than other team centers. She can dominate all the time, and it feels like some of these games, she's just mentally somewhere else, and it
Former
drives me nuts.
MVP for a reason.
Yeah, I know. She's extremely talented, but that's kind of why I like the rebounds, because I feel like her overall aggressiveness offensively is extremely inconsistent. Let's put it that way. So give me the rebounds on her instead.
All right. Played DeWanna Bonner again, over 17.5. I like AT rebounds and assists again in this one. She's been really, really good to the rebounds and assists against the Liberty. Been over that in what is this now? 6 games? Yeah, 6 games now. Because last game she did get there for me. I played that last game 17. Last 6 games she's been over that 16.5 line. I don't know why that's still back at 16.5. Honestly, I think she's going to go over again. That's probably one of my favorite plays in this game. Is just back at AT rebounds and assists over 16.5.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
All right.
A part of me keeps wanting to take AT under in points, by the way, because she never shoots the damn ball, and it just bothers me. But I hope she actually starts shooting more. I like AT a lot as a player, but damn, you got to start looking at the rim.
All right. Last game up. 10 p.m. on the East Coast. Late nightcap. Chicago Sky are in Vegas playing the Las Vegas Aces. This game's sitting at 13.5. 170 is the total injury report. And I see... Nope. All right, nothing. I don't have anything to report in this injury report. Chelsea Gray came back. She left with a head injury, came back, so she was fine. So, yeah, I don't have anything to report. Looks like everybody who has been playing is going to keep playing here. Are you laying it?
I'm kind of tempted by it. I don't think the Sky can really guard much, and offensively, they have been pretty underwhelming recently. I do think that the Aces can kind of name the score in any game they play. The problem is they don't play enough consistent defense to actually cover big numbers. So initially, I was leaning to Chicago, but I don't know if I want them. I also realized I put the wrong team at home. I meant to put the Aces as the home team in this game. So sorry about that. I'm gonna lay it with the Aces. I tend to like the Aces more when it comes to laying big numbers when they are at home. And I do think right before the All-Star break, sellout crowd, because every game's a sellout. I think Chicago might be in trouble here. Asia played really well in the first game against Chicago. I was shocked by how well Angel Reese played, though. I thought she actually played very well in that first game. I think Asia defensively can play better. To go through the actual numbers of that game, by the way, you're looking at Wilson with 31 points and only 6 rebounds, but she had 31 points in that game. Reese had 18 and 11 on 7 of 16 shooting, but Carter went 9 of 20. Mabry went 8 of 16. The Sky as a team did shoot 43.6%, but a lot of their starters actually shot the ball well. I thought the bench wasn't that great. But Reese, once again, was a little bit below 50%. Allen was 5 for 7. Mabry was 50% on 16 shots. Carter shot the ball well, too. I feel like I just have more faith in the Aces to replicate scoring 90 than I do for the Sky to score like 83 plus. So I think I am going to lean to the Aces at home. I think I just like the Aces in the spot. I think the Sky are potentially in trouble of just not getting enough stops. And offensively, this team has really not been great recently, which I find concerning. And looking at Chicago's last couple games in particular, they ended up scoring 80. They scored 67 against the Liberty, 76 against the Liberty, 78 against the Dream, 71 against the Storm. They've not been great offensively. I'm going to lean Aces in the spot. I feel like my new Aces move might be to fade them laying double digits on the road, but at home we can reevaluate because at home they tend to cover more than the road.
All right. Aces laying double digits, 5, 7, and 1. And the Sky catching double digits, 2 and 1 on the season. I'm just gonna tell you, the way to go here is the Sky first half. And this is just fading the Aces in the first half yet again. We did it with the Mystics. I say we do it again here with the Sky because the numbers are still glaring. 9-14 straight, 9-14 against the spread are the Aces in the first half. At home, they are 4-8. You get them with the Chicago Sky, who are 12-9-2 overall in the first half. On the road, 5-2. They're catching 8.5 points in the first half. They constantly get out really, really well. The Aces struggle defensively. I don't understand why wouldn't I'm just going to continue to play the numbers and fade the Aces early on in the game. Then they come out of the halftime with some major adjustments, and they end up going on a run and either winning or winning and covering. And so I really, really, really don't want to play the full game spread. If I had to pick a side, I'm just going to go ahead and take the Sky. But I'm 100% bought into the Sky first half. I think that's 100% the way you play it. Just back in that Sky first half. Sky team total over in the first half. They're 5-1-1 to that team total in the first half. And that's how I would play that. So possible lock consideration in there with the Chicago Sky again in the first half here, who are a good first half team.
You have any thoughts on the over-under, by the way?
For the full game, 70.
I'm used to the Aces totals in the 170s, so 169 is actually kind of a refreshing sight.
I say you continue to go over. I can't really. I mean, the only concern is the second half. So maybe a first half over in this one. The only concern is the second half and the Sky just completely just disintegrate and don't score. Like, they're really, really hard to watch offensively sometimes, and it's really, really frustrating. But for the most part, they've been really good. 7-4 to the over on the road this season. The Aces are 7-5 at home. Both of these two teams play with pace. Both of these two teams are able to score. Both of these two teams trend to the over. I like the over 170. I don't think we play the Aces any differently.
I think I like the Aces team total over. I think that the Sky defensively are going to have problems. They gave up 95 in Chicago in the first meeting. I think the Aces are going to come out. I'll put it this way. I do think that you're looking at a spot where the Aces maybe sense a bit more urgency in the first half because of how bad they were against the Mystics for the first quarter. They were awful for that entire first quarter. So maybe you end up seeing them come out with a bit more energy early on. But 95 in the first game, I don't think that the Sky can guard this team. Asia had 31. I still don't think that Reese and Cardoso work together at all. I think it's a horrible pairing every time I watch them play. I do like the Aces team total over. I see Hassan mentioning Aces fourth quarter. That could be interesting. I don't mind Aces third quarter, actually, because we have seen Hammond get her team ready for second halves pretty effectively. And the Sky have been a really bad second half team, especially over the last couple weeks. Third quarter, I might be intrigued by, because there's a couple ways to get there. Either the Aces are down because they punt another first half, they come out and smack this team in the third, or maybe the game is still somewhat in the balance and they can't pull the starters yet, so they'll open up a massive lead in the third. So I actually don't mind the Aces third quarter spread. I think I like that more than the fourth quarter spread, but 1.5 is pretty low. So both those might cash.
All right. Player props. Where's Reese rebounds at today?
That's always the first place we got to go for this.
13.5 at plus 105 consensus.
I mean, I can't take that.
Asia is crazy. Asia's at 12.5. Like 12.5 is already crazy, but to be at 13.5, it's like insane. And watch her
it's also hard because you're against Asia, so foul trouble is always going to be a concern.
Yeah.
And we know Angel Reese, as a rookie, does foul a lot. So that can be a problem that you might have to deal with. I can't take it. I'm never going to take an under on her rebounds, but
I actually don't.
13.5. What?
I actually don't think foul trouble is. I mean, I understand why you think it's in the wrong possibility, but I'll just let you know that Asia was pull up city against this team, yo. Like, she was pulling up crazy from the mid, step back, like just a pure bucket show last go round. So if she's not like driving into the chest, I think it's going to be a lot of jump shots that she just feels comfortable with, and they just constantly go in. I don't know how you get away from playing Asia Wilson points over, man. Like, it's literally one of the best players in the league has had one of the most consistent props over the course of the entire season. And oh man, I don't know. I don't know how you don't play it. I'm back at Asia Wilson on her points again. I mean,
She
she's
just
still
walks
going
into 30.
over. She's still going over. Like, she's consistently going over. She's missed once in the past 5 games.
Yeah,
And
give
she
or
had
take.
24 in that game. Yeah, she missed once in the past 5 games. And it was 24 that game. If you look at this number, she's been over this number in 70% of her games in the last 20 games. She's been over it 65% on the season, 6 of the last 10. Like she's constantly getting over this number. And you just got to keep playing it and assume that she's going to walk in it to near 30 every single time. So continue to play Asia Wilson. I mean, there's an overcorrection here. I think there's an overcorrection, Scott.
Yeah, there might be.
Point guard is at 8.5.
That's what I was about to ask you. I was about to ask you about grade.
Point guard is at 8.5 points, Scott.
Are we at the bottom? Is this the bottom out point?
Now this is when you buy low, sell high. This is when 8.5, Scott. 8.5. Like, do we know, Scott? I want you to know that 2023 it has 90% for the amount of time she covered 8.5.
Yep.
No, man. At some point, she's gonna get back right. 8.5. I don't care. I'm playing over 8.5. At this point, it's disrespectful, and I'm up enough where if they say I'm wrong, then I'll be wrong. But I just think it's criminal that Chelsea Gray is at 8.5, and if her points are at 8.5, that means the alt line is crazy, and I'm gonna do it. I
mean, if you were going to go for a home run swing the game before the All-Star break, why not?
Dog, she just got to get into a rhythm.
She's been so good against Chicago, historically speaking, by the way. She's had at least 19 points in 4 of the last 6 games against Chicago.
Bro, she's 5-1
to 15.
Get 15. No. I'm literally locking this in right now.
I mean, the attempts have been there, to be fair. I mean, the last couple games, just to read them off, her efficiency has been horrible. She has had 7 points in the last 2 games, but she did go 1 of 8 against Washington and 2 of 9 against Atlanta. So the volume is there. If she ends up going like 6 of 9 or has like a really good shooting game, you can get there on like 9 shots. It's definitely realistic if she has a good shooting night. That's definitely possible.
I just locked in Chelsea Gray 15 plus points.
It's 5-1. I mean, you could throw it in a long shot parlay if you want to.
Oh, we should. I should. Oh,
by the way, shout out to Teoscar for winning the home run derby at 12-1.
Let's go! Let's go! Yes!
I know Adam and I.
Shout out to Adam and Scott.
Yeah.
Shout out to Adam and Scott. Yes. Where is that? Oh man. Oh, appreciate y'all. Appreciate y'all for that little come up. What? You guys rock. This is why you listen to other shows. Shout out to the MLB Gambling Podcast. This is why you listen to other shows. It's not just us. Now, granted, I think we're one of the best shows on the network. Biased, I think we're one of the best. But, hey, everybody be killing it. 12-1. Heck yeah. I'm happy about that. Oh, man. Let me go to that account. Did they deposit that already? Hurry up. I'm about to put all of that on Chelsea Gray.
I mean, 5-1. It's a nice vacation. It's a nice vacation for yourself.
All on Chelsea Gray.
It's called reinvesting. That's what it's called, I think.
Yeah, man. Bro, this is 8.5 is such like I don't think I've ever seen her at 8.5 before. That's what's really comical about this. Like, we've been doing this for a while. I don't think I've ever seen her points prop at 8.5 before. Huh. I wonder if we cash that Bobby Witt bet. That's the other one.
Oh, no, he tied. It's actually funny because Teoscar hit the exact 111 miles per hour 3 times, and Witt hit it once, but it's still a dead heat because they're the same. Because it's just 2 players.
Oh, so we're gonna get like half.
It's half. So it depends where you got it though, because I think most books had like 3-1, so you'd get like 150. I think that's basically how that would go.
I got plus 390
for the velocity. Yeah, okay, so 390, you get half of that. So that's still pretty good. It's 195.
Oh, okay. All right. Where are we at, Scott? Anything else in this one? Mabry. I like Mabry.
Are you on Carter again? Because she's been one of your favorite
players.
Oh,
yeah, 100%. I mean, where's their line at now? I don't even see a line out for it.
I think it was at 18 or 19 and a half.
Well, if it's not 20, anything under 20 and a half, I think is an autoplay. Honestly, I think 20 and a half is an autoplay too. Yeah, it's 19 and a half plus money. You got to continue to play Carter.
I
And
see
I think
18 and a
people
half
are
at
going to,
minus 120.
and I think people are going to start doubting her after that last game and getting benched. But like, she's about to cook. The Aces defense has been horrible. And she literally has, she's going to see Kelsey Plum and look at burnt barbecue chicken and just, yeah. I like Carter as well. I don't think, because they're gonna get Plum on her and she's gonna beat Plum all day. All right. Yeah, it's enough for me from there.
Yep.
Let's see.
Move on to
Lock, dog, underdog, parlay, former lock. Chicago Sky first half.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going back to it. Chicago Sky first half. Aces have been really bad to the first half, man. They were able to cash for us with the Mystics, so why not run Chicago here? Plus 8.5. And Chicago's been really, really good. They gave the Liberty a first half. They gave the Storm a first half. Like, they've been really, really good to this number. So the Aces, I actually think, are comparable to those teams and way worse defensively. So yeah, Chicago Sky, get it done, plus 8.5.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see here for my dog. Sparks.
Just to ask, by the way, are you merging your dog with the parlay or keeping it separate this time?
No, I think I'm gonna keep it separate. Let's get some more action. Yeah, I'm gonna keep it separate because I'm gonna back point guard. This is the floor, man. This is the floor. She's way better she's so much better of a player than 8.5 points, man. Like, she's so much better of a player than 8.5 points. That's ridiculous. This is the absolute bottom that you could possibly have for Chelsea Gray. And guess what? I'm gonna make sure she know. I'm gonna be tweeting. I'm watch by the time if you catching this episode late, watch by the time you see I sent her a tweet and told her that they made her points prop at 8.5. She's literally been over this in what is this? What's it for 5 of the last 6 games against Sky? It has been 19, 22, 19, 29, and 8. Wow, even the one she missed, she was right there. Come on, guys. Come on. 8.5. No, I'm taking 15 for 5-1. That's my dog. That is my dog. And I just locked it in. So that's my dog. Chelsea Gray, 15 plus points, 5-1. This is the floor. This is the absolute floor. I'm never going to see Chelsea Gray for 5-1 for 15 plus points again. So I'm going to enjoy it while we got it.
Yep. I can definitely understand. I mean, if it hits, it's going to be fantastic. So,
yeah,
I'm not going to argue.
It's going to hit, bro. It's going to hit. It's going to hit.
Yeah. So for my lock, I got to think of what exactly I want to do here because there actually was a lot that I liked from the card. Do I want to go player prop or do I want to go with the side here? I think I have a player prop already set. The question is, do I want to go with an alt line for the dog or not? I think I'm actually going to go pretty safe on this one for me. I'm going to go with Nneka over 16.5 points as my lock. I just think that she's going to dominate this matchup. We know that Nneka has extra incentive to dominate this matchup, but you are looking at her dropping 26 in the first meeting of the season. Her point line's at 16.5. Really? 16.5? She had 26 in the first meeting? Like, I just feel like she's going to be motivated, obviously, for the event based on the context behind, playing against her former team, etc. I think Nneka's in line for a good showing here. So I think 16.5 is a very solid price. Give me the over 16.5 points for Nneka at minus 125. First game, by the way, against them this season was was at home, actually. So she's getting the tribute video in this matchup, which should be pretty fun. So I think that she might end up going crazy after the tribute video hits. So give me Nneka to have a big game, mostly a revenge angle at the over 16.5 at minus 125. For my dog, I think I am just going to go pretty simple with this one. Give me the Mystics. Like, I'm not going to really overthink this one. I see 160 is the current price on ESPN bet for the money line. The question is, do I want to go with Mystics first half and full game to get the bigger payout? Because we know how good the Mystics are in the first half. I really do think the Mercury might just already be mentally checked out for the All-Star break and for the Olympic break. So I want to quickly pull up what the price is for the halftime full-time line because I might take that. Maybe you can find a better price for me, though. but the double result here, Mystics both halves is plus 280, which I think is very appealing. I'm going to do it. Give me Mystics first half and full game plus 280.
Oh, yeah. That's great. I love it. I love it. I think it's a great play. All right. Let's see here, Scott. Parlay, because I know the people are going to ask for it if I forget it. What do I want to play here?
I mean, you can take Chelsea's default points line and throw that in something if you want.
I was thinking that, but I felt like we were going to put that in Underdog, so I didn't want to do it. Let's go with Mystics first half. Let's just go ahead and just throw that in there. But we're going to take the money line. Mystics first half money line. I'm going to trust my gut and say Sparks plus 8.5.
Okay.
And then do I want the coverage of, like, do I just play the Sky first half and share it with the lock, or do I just go for Asia? Just give me Asia Wilson. Screw it. If Asia Wilson loses my parlay, I'm not really kicking myself about that. I'm really not. Because it's not going to happen often. There we go. Sparks plus 8.5. Mystics first half money line. Asia Wilson over 27.5 points.
Okay.
Plus 760 on the parlay today. That's juicy. Let's lock that in. There we go. All right. Underdog. Oh, I got a deposit bonus for 30%. Yeah, I'll take it.
In this economy? Right. What a
Hell
steal.
Yeah.
All right, so are we just blindly just using Asia points again? Because why not?
Well, we could do gray this time.
Okay. Do they have gray?
Yes, I read it. Well, let's see. Yeah, it says 8.5. This 8.5 is
8.5.
So
sure.
This is I'm just with I'm fading the recent form. I am 100% fading the recent form. She's so much better than 8.5 points.
Becky, let her cook before the All-Star break.
And the Olympics are coming up. Like, she has reason to go out there and try to find her form, man. She would love to have a good game before the Olympics. Yeah. All right. I put Nneka in there. 16.5 points. We can go Ari higher 11.5. We can go Ezzy higher 8.5 rebounds. That's a little spicy. Or we can go Natasha Cloud for the revenge game higher points and assists 20.5. I'll let you make the distinction between the three.
Yeah, let's go with the last one.
Natasha Cloud?
Yeah, let's go with Cloud.
Revenge game. Natasha Cloud higher 20.5 points and assists. Nneka Ogwumike in her revenge game higher 16.5 points. And guess what? This is Nneka's first time playing in Los Angeles.
That's what I'm saying. They're going to give her the full tribute.
Yep. So Nneka higher 16.5 points. And then the disrespect faded. Chelsea Gray higher 8.5 points, man. Put that into Underdog. Gets you 6x on that Underdog lineup. $100 gets $600. Make sure you use that promo code NBA SGPN. Get that special pick and first time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. Scott, anything else for people before we get up out of here?
Not really. It's going to be one of the last episodes that we have for the WNBA podcast for a while. I know Terrell said before we went live, we might be doing some shorts for the All-Star weekend. So stay tuned for that. Maybe we'll do an episode. It really depends on when the lines come out. So we'll figure it out. But might be a while. I do know, though, that we will be back for the NBA Gambling podcast for the Olympics. So we're going to be doing a preview episode for the men's Olympics, going through outrights, groups, etc. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, you know where to find me. Bunch of podcasts, tennis gambling podcasts, swept again, which is nice. You can find me on the MLB show. Basically swept the home run derby tonight, which was nice. Yeah, keep them busy. But find me on Twitter, Reichel Radio.
Yes, sir. Other than that, yeah. Make sure you give us 5-star rating, review, and like, video, comment, all of that stuff. It all helps us. Other than that, man, it's been fun. It's been a really, really good first half of the season. Both of us over 60% of our locks. I have nothing else to say, nothing else to do. No other way of ending the podcast. Just gonna end it like this. We are out of here.